Welcome to Love and Lattes, the podcast designed for women who are ready to stop settling and start living a life full of authentic love, confidence, and real connection. I'm your host, Victoria, the self-love scientist, speaker, and coach, and I'm here to help you reclaim your power, deepen your relationships, and fall unapologetically in love with yourself. So grab your tea, your latte, or your favorite beverage, and let's get started.
Okay, that was an amazing amount of information, Brinn. Thank you so much. It's been very helpful. And now I'm going to come to your favorite part, the astrology part. What?
Yes.
Tell me
Yes.
more about the astrology and how does the astrology connect to our nervous system and our inner parts?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I love astrology first and foremost for so many different reasons. And there's kind of two different ways to use astrology as a tool. You can use it to look at like what the planets are doing today. Like, for example, we're recording this in mid-April. We just came through a crazy double eclipse, portal. We've had Venus in retrograde, Mercury's in retrograde. We transitioned Neptune into Aries. We have all this stuff going on. And that's what you can look at today. And for me, that's really helpful for being, again, I'm not crazy, right? There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing right now because I feel a certain way or I'm dealing with these issues. So that's kind of like what's happening today. You can also use your astrology to look at like your birth chart of like what were the energies at the exact time that you were born. And that's what I really focus on. I am a birth chart astrologer. So I don't do like the predictive or, things like that. I don't try to like tell your fortune. I really use it as a tool for self-awareness. And so we look at your three major signs, which is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. And we look at how those are three parts right there, right? These are archetypes. Your sun is kind of like who you are when you're in what I think of like your adult, when you're feeling capable, when you're feeling regulated, when you're just like in your element, so to speak. That is like your adult self. And so I think of that as like the sun sign. And then with the moon sign, that's more of the inner child, like I was saying, where like I have a double moon, right? And like a moon in a fire moon in a fire house. And so my inner child gets very fiery when she gets triggered. But not everybody's going to do that, right? Because they all have their own signs. It might be fire, it might be water, it might be earth, it might be air. So knowing what your personal signs are is so helpful. It's like taking any sort of personality test or assessment, right? It gives us more information about ourselves so we can start to play to our strengths. So like one of the things about having a fire moon is that I'm also very creative and like really taking that on. And like a lot of my work is like creative work. And so I'm like, okay, I'm playing to my strength in that regard. And so, yeah, when we look at the three major signs, I think they pair nicely with, the adult, the critic, and the child, and can just really give us a solid understanding for who we are, inherently who we are. Like, not just how we grew up, but we can also see in the chart, we can see dynamics with parents by looking at the chart. We can see dynamics in their family and with siblings, relationship dynamics, how you might show up. And all of that can be seen through these different archetypes also. So yeah, I just think they go beautifully together. And when I do a reading for somebody, I really do focus on those energies and kind of like bringing it all together.
I think that's amazing. I think that could be very helpful for people to understand like what's going to work better for them or to notice these patterns, like why, like if you have fire and you can say anything to this, but you're probably more like passionate when it comes to expressing your inner child versus like if you have water, you're probably more like, you probably feel better by crying or something like that. Like associations with water, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a crier. I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I used to not be. And then once it was like, when the healing started, I was like, oh yeah, cry all the time.
This has been such a great episode. Like, I feel like I've personally learned so much, and it's really great to hear that they're, I think the biggest thing that stood out to me the most was knowing that, the things that we're experiencing aren't really, it's not something we're aware of. It's more of like a default. And then that inner critic, again, it's to take note that I'm just trying to protect you because of what has happened. And I think, so I'm guessing like for people, like until they start to sit down and really ask themselves, these questions, then they can start that healing journey. Which kind of, I want to like kind of tie everything up as we finish up the episode. What is something you would recommend those who are noticing, again, like I could be in a very healthy relationship, but I feel like I'm in my fight or flight response right now, or that inner critic is just like, just leave them alone. They don't care. What is the best way to approach these situations, especially when it comes to relationships, whether you're in partnership or not?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So one, the awareness piece is huge. Recognizing that you are the one in control of you. You're in control of your body. You're in control of your nervous system. You're really in control of your emotions. I think that is really empowering because otherwise we are at the mercy of what everybody else is doing. So if you get into a fight with your partner, oh, you're on their emotional roller coaster. But if you take a step back and recognize, hey, I can take care of me, I've got me, then that's major. A lot of us, I know I did this for a really long time, is we look outside of ourselves to help us feel better, whether that's, Netflix, binging Netflix, or drinking or smoking, or, talking on calling your friend immediately as soon as something happens and needing to tell them every little detail that happened, or wanting to have that physical comfort, whatever it is. We all kind of look outside of ourselves. And I think the best thing you can do for yourself is learn how to self-soothe. And that's where you can recognize, oh, my inner critic is having a problem, or my inner child is having a problem. And how can I comfort her? And then that way, when you do get the outside stuff, it's like icing on the cake. Like, yeah, sure, it feels good, but you've got you. So doing the inner child work is huge, doing inner critic work, and then that nervous system work also. And so, like I said, that's kind of why I blend all of these with my coaching and therapy that I do, is because it really goes hand in hand. You can read all the books you want, but as they say, you can read a book, but it's not going to get you to run the marathon, right? And so it's the same thing. We can cognitively understand these things, but until you put it into practice, like where the rubber meets the road, that's really where you're going to learn how to do these things better. And when I was first on this journey, and I do it today, but a big part of when I was first on this journey was learning how to apologize and learning how to clean up and learning how to say things like, oh, I didn't really like how I showed up there. How can I do this differently? Because that is giving my adult practice, right? Whereas before I was kind of like, oh, I'll just kind of sweep that under the rug, or like, let's pretend that didn't happen. But practicing being in that adult self is huge. And practicing, like, the adult is practice. Like, you kind of, I think of it as like taking them to the gym. So you can take your adult to the gym by like keeping promises to yourself. Like, how many times do you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it? Right? That is making your adult weaker when you do that, and it is scaring your inner child. And so it is really fueling that inner child. So when you can like keep a little promise to yourself every day, it'll strengthen your adult, and it'll start to decrease the fear and the anxiety that this inner child feels. And so maybe that's starting a meditation practice, or going for a walk every day, or drinking enough water every day, or, something like that. It can be really small, but that could also be a really great place to start, is picking one thing and really committing to yourself. And if you don't do it one day, you're going to do it the next, right? Because a lot of us will fall off and then be like, oh, what's the point? I already missed one day. No. You start the next day. And that is a really great way to start strengthening that adult self, which is regulating your nervous system.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brinn. This has been such an amazing episode. And everyone listening, I hope you go back, re-listen, because there are a lot of hot topics, a lot of keywords here. And I'm going to have all of Brinn's information, how you can connect with her, get your astrology on, guys.
Yes.
And yeah, this was such a powerful episode, and I really appreciate your expertise and time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victoria. I really appreciate it.